Okay, so what is this serverless thing? There's some debate about this and it causes a lot of confusion. So firstly, the term serverless can be attributed to the growing popularity of compute technologies like AWS Lambda, which are often described as serverless. So Lambda is called function as a service, and it allows you to provide a single code function, and Lambda is going to execute it on demand in a fully managed and massively scalable way. Amazon managed basically a massive fleet of servers that are just sitting around ready to execute your code at any time. So as soon as you or one of your customers request a function to run, they'll execute it on demand on one of their ready and waiting servers. And you'll only get charged for the time that your function executes. Thousands of your functions can be executed simultaneously. Typically, we've run our own servers, right, in the past. So you set up a server, even if it's running in the cloud in like EC2, it's still a full machine that you can remote into. Like it's yours and it's stateful. You can install software on it, configure it, and then connect it to the outside world where it sits waiting for requests. Now this server usually has a lot of your application code on it, and it can execute many different pieces of code depending on what's being requested. So a customer might ask to fetch a record or save a record, log in, log out. The server can execute many different commands. If lots of customers start requesting things from the server, it gets overloaded and you need to scale out with more and more servers, and then you have to think about setting up load balancing between them. If there's a period of downtime or inactivity, the server is sitting there running, idling, and you're paying for it. With Lambda, all of this is abstracted away. It's as simple as give Lambda your code, and then it will run your code on demand when requested. If no one calls your code, you won't pay. If 1,000 people all call your code at once, the system is provisioned, it's ready, and it's waiting to handle the demand. It removes a lot of the management complexity away from you. So Lambda is groundbreaking, and it's as big a shift forward for cloud compute as S3 was for cloud storage. And if you think about it, the two are actually very similar. So Lambda is to compute what S3 is to storage. S3 deals in objects for storage, right? You provide an object and S3 stores it, and you don't know how and you don't know where it stores it and you don't really care. There's no drives to concern yourself with in S3. There's no such thing as disk space. Concepts like not enough space and too much unused space just don't exist. It's all abstracted away. You can't under-provision or over-provision storage capacity in S3. It just is what you want it to be. S3 will store and charge you for exactly what you give it, nothing more and nothing less. Now let's look at Lambda through the same lens. Well, Lambda deals in functions for execution. You provide some function code, Lambda executes it on demand. You don't know how and you don't know where and you don't care. There are no virtual machines to concern yourself with. There's no such thing as server farm capacity. Too many idling servers, not enough servers to meet demand, scaling groups. These concepts don't exist because it's all abstracted away. You can't under-provision or over-provision execution capacity in Lambda. It just is what you need it to be. Lambda executes and charges you for exactly what you execute, nothing more and nothing less. And this is why we think Lambda is the next level for cloud computing. And it will be as big a shift forward for compute as S3 was for storage. The other thing that makes fast technology so compelling is their integration with the rest of the cloud ecosystem. So in AWS, you have the cloud fire a function, say, every time a file is dropped into S3 or changed. And so you can do some kind of processing on that file. When a message is posted to a Kinesis stream or when a call is made to API gateway from the outside world. It's also worth mentioning the other function as a service technologies provided in other clouds. So Lambda was the first fully fledged function as a service system in a major public cloud. But since then, the other providers have launched their own offerings and have done some amazing innovative work and have some interesting features above and beyond Lambda in some cases, which is pretty amazing. So we've now established that Lambda is a big part of serverless. But is that it? Is serverless just Lambda? Is it just function as a service? Well, no, it is broader than that. So if you look at the way that people are actually building serverless systems, there's a lot more to it than just function as a service. So my view is that serverless is an approach to building applications. It's a set of architectural principles which can be distilled down to compute and patterns. There are serverless compute technologies, like AWS Lambda, and there are serverless architectural patterns. So these are patterns for crafting systems without traditional back-end servers. So the real power of going serverless comes from integration with other services. So hooking Lambda functions into AWS services and third-party services to orchestrate rich and powerful event-driven pipelines. And this has been referred to as a service-full approach, where cloud services are heavily leveraged and serverless compute technologies are used as kind of the last mile to just weave these custom components together in these third-party services. So you actually want to write as little code as possible, right? Use your Lambdas to weave together some of the powerful services in AWS and build as little as possible yourself.